Hello, everybody. This is part 2 of our Lamley Hot Wheels Speed Machines Showcase. Part 1, the preview portion, was yesterday, where we showed the new car culture speed machines, a complete throwback, a complete homage to the original line, from the artwork, the card style, even the co-mold wheels, which returned. We talked about that, the fact that they are plastic. We talked through that yesterday. A lot of comments from you guys on that. Very happy that you guys are sharing your comments. And if you haven't watched part 1, definitely go back and do it. We showcased all 5 of the new Speed Machines wheels, including the chase and the card. We'll open that another time. Now it is time to talk about the original Speed Machines from 2010, 2011, if I remember correctly. We'll talk about their history. But like I said yesterday, this is part 2, but there will be a third part on Whatnot. I am on the Whatnot app. As you know, many of you have joined me on the Whatnot app. There's a link down below to join. I am going to do another giveaway where I'm going to give away some of the original speed machines, including this McLaren F1 GTR, some really valuable cars. I'm going to be giving away them at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Mountain time. Next Saturday, February 18th on Whatnot. Follow the link below, sign up, give Lamley a follow. You got to be following, you got to be watching at 9 a.m. And you can just sign up, as many of you have done it already, and you can win these cars. I'm giving quite a few away, at least a few $100s worth, which is not kind of cool. It's super, super cool, and I love doing these giveaways. But let's get to it. I showed you. There's the original, or there's what the new Speed Machines looks like. You can see that it's a complete homage to the original. Same logo, same art style, same card style, at least the card art style. The old card is a little different, but they got to stay true to the premium, and including the co-mold wheels, right? That's all throwback to the original Speed Machines. There's what the card art looked like from before. Let's put that off to the side. What I have done is I have taken all of my speed machines in my collection. I do not have them all. I have most of the models I want. There's still a couple of gaps that I'd love to fill. But I'm going to show you what I consider the 10 best speed machines from the original line. Basically what happened is they decided to take the co-mold wheels that were on the accelerators to start, and then move it over to, because they looked really good on accelerators, which are a video game line. There's some pretty serious accelerator collectors out there. And then they realized these wheels and their style, they look really good on sports cars. So they did this special line of Ferraris called the Ferrari Racers. I've done a feature on those. I'll leave a link so you can go and watch that video. It's fairly old. On the Ferrari Racers. And then they decided to take that to sports cars in general, and they did the Speed Machines. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the Speed Machines were Walmart exclusives. And there was some excitement about them. There was a lot of desire to see Hot Wheels do more sports cars and supercars, and they took these castings, what were basic castings essentially, had plastic bases, and turned them into these really cool looking sports cars. There are all kinds of them. As you can see, I'm kind of walking through my collection as you're looking at it now. What happened, though, is they didn't sell very well. And those of us who were collectors back then, we were very used to walking down the pegs and seeing just stacks and stacks of speed machines. It sounds crazy, but they were just there. And I remember seeing, like, over on, like, little side caps, a bunch of speed machines on sale for like $1.19, that sort of thing. And I didn't pick them up. I did pick up some, but not a lot. And you think about it now, I think we'd all wish that was something that would happen. But yeah, they were very, very popular, or they were not popular models. I'm sorry. And as much as we wanted this sports cars, we didn't buy them. Walmart eventually said, "Yeah, we're not going to sell them anymore. Can the series. If Walmart says can it, Mattel's going to can it," and they did. And there were some cars, like I said, I would talk to Steve about it, that were slated to go. I think there was an Aston Martin DBS. I think there was a Ferrari 458. There might have been some. I know there was plenty of others that were supposed to come out and they never did. And that's a real bummer. But we did see some cool cars that did hit, and we're going to talk about 10 of them right now. So let's get right to it. These are not in order. There's no way I could put them in order. But these are what I consider the 10 best, and we start with this one. Every one of these models has co-mold wheels on it. Some of them have racing deco, others do not. But I have always liked this casting. It's actually a casting that debuted in the Ferrari Racer series, eventually made it to basic, or at least to 5-packs. It's the Ferrari 612 Scaglietti. This one is beautiful and bright yellow, just with the gray co-mold wheels. It's nice and clean. And I don't know, I've always thought this is one of the super underrated Ferrari castings from the what we could call the Ferrari era. There's a lot of stars from that era, but this 612 was just a very clean. It's kind of a it's kind of a forgotten model. It wasn't well liked in the real car world, and I think when you see real 612s, I can see why. But there's a lot of collectors I know that have a soft spot for this casting, and I am one of them. I've always liked it. I think I have the two of them here in my collection. I have the Ferrari Racer version and this yellow version. So that is the first one. I just think it's one that, just for the casting itself, the way it was executed in Speed Machines, there's a lot of us that are big fans of that casting. Next one. Casting that debuted in the basic range. Almost all of these did. There's only a couple that actually did debut in Speed Machines. This is one that debuted in basics. This is the Lamborghini Gallardo. But what a version. This is still the best version of this casting. This beautiful Polizia version based on the Italian police car. There is a real one of these. Might have wrecked, if I remember correctly. But doesn't have a light bar on it. But considering they were taking these cars and trying to do these kind of mid-premium versions with really cool deco, no complaints here. This thing is fantastic. I know Matchbox did one too. I actually like this casting a little bit better. I think it sits a little bit better, and it looks so cool with the Polizia deco on it with the cold mold rims. I think that is a super, super cool version. There's actually two, you can see there at the bottom, two other versions of the Gallardo, but in Speed Machines, but this Polizia version was by far, to me, the best one. All right, number 3. I've talked about this model before in several different, in all kinds of videos, but the last time you saw it was in the One Hit Wonders video, and it is this one. It is the Audi TTS. 3 different versions released in this series. This one actually debuted in Speed Machines. It was made for Speed Machines, and then we never saw it again. It was released in kind of a burnt orange, a gray, and this blue version. I picked the blue version because I liked it the best, but all 3 versions are really, really cool. Look at this casting. It sits perfectly. It's clean. It's just a spectacular car. And who knows where it is. I'm guessing, since we haven't seen it for 10, 11, 12 years, unless they remold it, I'm guessing the mold is gone and they need to redo the casting. But are they going to? I don't know. So this one has become kind of a legendary car and a Speed Machines legend. You could maybe say that this is not only the best, my best, but it's also like the must-haves of the, there's definitely more than 10, right? But I think if you're creating a Speed Machines collection, you definitely have to have the Audi TTS. Another one that you have to have, because there is no better deco in Speed Machines than this guy. This thing is incredible. When you start looking at it, you start going, wow, that car is special. This is the Corvette C6R. We actually have seen it released recently in the basic range. But this, good casting, right? Racing Corvette. But look at the deco on this thing. From the windows to, like the deco on the windows, to the deco on the spoiler, to the front, the back, the sides, the front, everything is, they've got tampos everywhere. And it's that really clean, crisp version. We don't see, it's not that printed style. This is like a wrap style deco that we've seen on a couple of premium models as well of late. But this thing with the cold mold wheels and this incredible racing deco, which I think is based on a real racing deco, is really, really special. And I think, like I said, if you're going to have a Speed Machines collection, this Corvette, they did a second version of the Corvette in red. That one's fine. It's okay. It's kind of boring. But this one is beautiful and one of the great Hot Wheels in terms of deco that I think we've ever seen. All right. How's that for Lamley hype? Next one might be an ugly casting, but it is one of the legends of the Speed Machines line. It's one of the hardest to find, and it's definitely one of the most expensive, is the Bugatti Veyron. This would be considered the only premium-ish version. I don't know if this one goes for more than the Walmart exclusive. I think this one still is the most expensive Bugatti Veyron casting, release. It obviously had the, with the two-tone paint, the black and white, it was the most Veyron looking. Casting still leaves a lot to be desired. It just, the wheel wells are all messed up. Cold mold wheels definitely make it look better, but not great. But it is nicely detailed. It's a clean looking car. The Walmart version is still my favorite in the satin red, but this one is very, very nice. And I think it just, it just has to be included in the list, I think is how the best way to put it. It's not my favorite one in the line, but I can't do a 10 best without including the Bugatti. The other ones, they are must includes, but they're also really, really cool. And trying to pick the best of these next 5 is near impossible. So we're going to start with a tie, and you'll see why. It is another car that debuted in the Speed Machines line. It has taken on a life of its own. It's one of the most legendary super treasure hunts of all time. In fact, there's 2 super treasure hunts, but it's the red version. I could not choose between one version of this casting. There were 4 released, and it's the Ferrari 599XX. I had to include the red one to start because this one is actually based on the 599XX that was raced. It wasn't like a test car with this number 3. But it's based on the actual 599XX that was a track car, and the casting is stunning. It looks, I mean, the Super Treasure Hunt might be the best version too, but this is the most realistic deco on the 599XX. And they did a yellow version, then they did a black version. Like, I think they were created Hot Wheels decos, but they were both clean and very cool. But then they released the legendary Zamac version. This is still one of the coolest, cleanest Hot Wheels I've got. It's one of my favorite cars in my collection. It is a Zamac, not an official Walmart Zamac, of course, but it's done raw with just black and red trim with the plain gray coal mold wheels. And the deco on this is so precise, so tight from the sides to the top. It's just one of the, it's highly sought after. It goes for a very expensive price. It's not the most expensive Speed Machines anymore. It used to be far and away the most expensive, but it's been passed by, I think, 2 cars. But it is still, like, it still goes for a lot of money, especially carded. Even loose, it goes for a lot of money just because it's very hard to find. In fact, this one was released late in its run, and you had to go to, like, collectors in Europe and Asia to be able to get your hands on the 599XX Zamac. That's what I did. All right. Another one that debuted, almost became a one-hit wonder, but has had a little bit of a comeback of late is, I think you already know what it is, the Lamborghini Murcielago. What was this one called? Lamborghini Murcielago LP670-4SV. We've seen it in a 5-pack, and then we saw it in one of those road. Actually, so that's the story. It came out in Speed Machines in this yellow version, late in the run when the run was starting to kind of putter out. Anyway, this really beautiful yellow version. Then it was in that, like, a Road Series car, I believe. Or no, Decades. It was in the Decade Series. So soon after it was released in the Decade Series in white, and then it vanished. And then we saw it released as a 5-pack car in the last couple of years, right? So nice to see it back. We know they have the tool. I'm sure we'll see it again. This is one that they could have done premium for the new Speed Machines, which would have been kind of cool. But I really do like this one. And this one, it was hard to find out of the gate. It was very hard to find in store. Just because the line was harder and harder to find towards the latter part of the run. Another one. I think I have to say the Zamac Ferrari is probably my favorite. But here's 2 that have maybe become the most expensive based on what I've looked at on eBay and elsewhere. And we'll start with another one that debuted in the Speed Machines line. This isn't the debut. This is actually the second version. And it is the McLaren F1 GTR. I already showed you. I debated this one because I really like this 2-tone silver and orange version. I debated showing this one in my top 10, but I think this one with the wraparound GTR deco, this is not only a fantastic casting and kind of a legendary casting that debuted in the Speed Machines, but it's also got that same, like the Corvette, that cool wraparound deco. And there were F1 GTRs that had this deco, right? With the yellow GTR kind of wrapping around from the back to the front, or to the side, and then from the front to the other side on the, well, there's no driver's side, right? Because the driver's in the middle of this car. Sits smack dab in the middle. So is there really a driver's side? I guess it's all a driver's side? Anyway. Just a fantastic looking car. The casting is great. We've seen it in premium. We've seen it in basic. It was part of that that Hot Wheels ID, that kind of mysterious Hot Wheels ID mix, that final mix. But this is still, I think, the best version of that car, and it commands that kind of price in the secondary market. And finally, the car that has really taken on a life of its own. In fact, I was surprised to see how expensive this is. And I'll just show it. The Porsche Carrera GT This has been a Hot Wheels model since 2006. It still is so well done. They eventually took away this, the way they did the cover, the engine cover. They made it clear for basic, but they kept this on the speed machines. There were two versions. Yellow, which I think I have here. Yeah, yellow, carded in yellow, which was really, really nice. But I always thought the cleanest one was this pearl white version with the chrome-lipped co-mold wheels and just, you know, the Porsche on the headlights, or I'm sorry, on the windshield, and then just the clean headlights and taillights. I don't know why maybe this one was harder to find. I can't remember. I know I got my hands on it and I've just kind of kept the one in my collection. The yellow one, in fact, I had to go into the secondary market recently to get it. I don't think I paid a ton for it. I think I paid about 50 or 60, which is a lot, but you know, all things considered, this thing is now exceeding $300 carded. And I'm not entirely sure. Maybe this one was more rare. Maybe some of you can answer why, but it's still one of the best looking speed machines by far. And I think now has surpassed the Zamac Ferrari as the most expensive speed machines model out there. You guys tell me what you think. Pretty cool, right? There's a lot of cool speed machines. There's still some gaps I'd love to fill, but right now I'm pretty happy with what I've got. I am happy that Hot Wheels brought it back. I think it's going to be really fun to collect. I'm sure they're going to bring more speed machines in the future, and maybe they'll do some throwbacks as well. You guys tell me if you agree with this top 10. If there's others that you think should be included, I want to hear it in the comments. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Bye.